toxic masculinity.
Now this one's great, guys. You're gonna love this one. I love this one. I posted this on Twitter. I talked about this on Twitter, but I want to talk about it now. I'm just gonna play this video, and then we're gonna move on to the next video. There's two videos that you need to watch, and they're both magnificent in their own way. Okay, let's have a look at this. Oh yeah, who's that? You know who that is. All right. All right, so sorry about that little glitch there. I don't know what happened, but you get to see Ronald Reagan presenting, the way Ronald Reagan does. No sound. What do you mean no sound? Why is there no sound? That's weird. Oh. Yeah, crap. I guess I gotta go to speakers. Huh. Give me 1 second. Let me look into this real quick. There we go. Okay. All right. So you guys may not have been able to hear the Nancy Pelosi stuff, but I'm not gonna go back to that because this is better. All right. Give me 1 second. I think this will work now.
But there's one thing I haven't been able to get a straight answer on.
Sorry, guys.
I quote, as president, I have a military aide from each of the Tide Rips. As president, I have a military aide from each of the 5 services. My Coast Guard aides have been excellent. One of them taught me that, and I quote, the Coast Guard is that hard nucleus about which the Navy forms in time of war.
All right, there we go. Okay, so you guys can see Ronald Reagan has this quote that he's heard. He's like, yeah, this was referred to as a joke by, I think it was Forbes magazine. And this is not a joke, right? This is an expression of the critical nature of the Coast Guard, right? I think he's talking about the Coast Guard, right? And just talking about how important they are, to the Navy. And it's just a nice thing to say. It's a profound thing to say. It's a good thing to say. All right. Now, there is one president that we've had in the United States and in American politics that is known for, over the years, plagiarizing other people's speeches. Maybe you guys know who that is. Well, I won't hold you in any more suspense. Let's have a look. That's right. It's Mr. Joe Biden. And this is Joe Biden's attempt at expressing the same sentiment, using precisely the same line. But, yeah. Okay, so let's see how that goes.
I can only assume that you will enjoy educating your family about how the Coast Guard is, quote, the hard nucleus around the Navy forms in times of war. You're a really dull class. I mean, come on, man. Is the sun getting to you? I would think you'd have an opportunity when I say that about the Navy to clap, but being here together.
So, a lot of people in the media are framing this as offensive to the Coast Guard or something, or he's but I don't think it's about that. I think what it is just shows how inferior Joe Biden is as a president. And look, it's a little bit unfair, right? You're comparing him to the greatest president of all time, right? The man that they nicknamed the Great Communicator. Okay. Biden might be described as Biden the incompetent, right? Biden the feeble, Biden the feckless, Biden the absolutely useless, Biden the cheater. Let's call him that. But look, Joe Biden cannot communicate at all. I mean, he's basically probably one of the worst presidents we've ever had in history, probably the worst we've ever had in history in terms of his ability to communicate, to speak with authority, to speak in coherent sentences, for that matter. So he takes a line from the great communicator Ronald Reagan, and first of all, he doesn't even say it right. He doesn't even use the right words, but he steals this line. So all he has to do is recite the lines. Recite the lines. That's all he has to do, right? Well, okay, no, that's not true. There's a little bit more to it than just reciting lines. But that's the most basic thing you got to get right? You got to get the line right. If people don't even understand what he said, people don't even understand what he was trying to say. You teach your parents that the Coast Guard is the hard nucleus war forms around the Navy, and you can tell them about that. I mean, the Coast Guard cadets, or I don't know, I guess they're at the academy, so these are new Coast Guard recruits. They're sitting there looking at him, and they're just thinking, I don't even understand what he means. And I think that's a well-known phrase within the Coast Guard. If anybody's been in the Coast Guard, you can let me know. But I think people know this phrase from Ronald Reagan. I think that it was something that was popular even before Reagan said it, like within the Coast Guard. I'm not 100% sure about that, but Reagan said that one of his guys, his Coast Guard advisor, presented this phrase to him, and so he read that phrase off, thinking it's a good description of what the Coast Guard is, and that's when it really became popularized in the media. And now Biden's trying to use it, trying to quote Reagan, can't quote Reagan. And what's really annoying about that is you might say, okay, yeah, well, he was just quoting Reagan. He was just quoting Reagan. That would be fine if he said, I believe it was Reagan who said, and then presented the line, right? Or not I believe, but it was Reagan who said, and he can say, like, I agree with this sentiment, right? But he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. He just says the line as if he invented it, or it's something that he came up with this idea, or his writers came up with this idea. I mean, and then he doesn't even say the line right. But what's worse, because like I said, there is more to it than just expressing a line. It's sort of like being a stand-up comedian, right? If you've ever watched a stand-up comedian and gone, oh, I love that joke, and then thought, I want to make the same joke, and then you told your friend, right? You told your friend the joke, and you're like, oh, that's a really good joke, I'm going to repeat it. And you're like, dude, I watched the stand-up comedian last night, he was awesome. And then you repeat that joke to your friend, and your friend is like, I don't get it. Or they don't laugh, or they just think, okay, this wasn't right. Well, what's the problem there? The problem is the delivery, right? You've got to know how to deliver a line effectively. Now, this wasn't a joke. This was a line that was supposed to praise the Coast Guard, praise the people that he was standing there talking to. And, Reagan did it right. He did it in such a way where everybody in front of him, the whole group of cadets in front of him, I think cadets is the right term, they start screaming, yeah, all right? Good job, Reagan. You got that line in right on the money. Their timing was perfect. You actually got the words right. Important part of any form of expression. And then fast forward to 2021. Whew, yeah, Biden really massacred that line. So now this is how I've titled this story. I don't know if I said this at the beginning. Biden steals Reagan's line and mangles it, much like the presidency. So that's what I titled this segment. And and that's exactly what happened. So Biden steals the line from Reagan, and then he totally mangles it. He can't get it out right. Nobody laughs. Everybody's a little bit uncomfortable. And that totally feels like what's happened throughout his whole presidency. Like, this moment is like a metaphor for Biden's entire presidency. He stole the line, and then he couldn't even express the line correctly. He just mangled it. He messed it up. And now everybody's sitting there uncomfortable. They don't want to laugh. They don't want to cheer. They don't know what to do. They're just embarrassed, right? And I just feel like that's who we are as a country now. We're just embarrassed that this doddering old fool is running the country, somebody that most Americans don't even believe won legitimately. Do you know a majority of Americans believe that the election was stolen? A majority of Americans believe that. And yet we're not allowed to talk about that on social media. It's freaking ridiculous. I mention this all the time on my show. But 30% of Democrats think the election was stolen. 30% of the people who won think that they stole it. I don't know. And that's just the people that admit that they think that it was stolen. So, yeah. I thought that this was a perfect example of, one, obviously Joe Biden's incompetence, but, and two, the fact that he's still willing to plagiarize speeches, which is like, seriously, Joe? Seriously? And there was something a little bit inappropriate about how he responded to those Coast Guard, mostly men, I think. I know he was trying to play it off. I know he was really expecting a cheer and he didn't get it. And honestly, like, however inappropriate it was, I think more so it was just pathetic, right? It reminded me of that moment. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm going to actually look this up because it's so funny. There was a moment in, I think it was 2016, when Jeb Bush made a joke and the joke didn't land. It might have been a statement as well. Let's go ahead and watch this. And nobody laughed and nobody said anything. Nobody clapped. And so he just turns to the crowd and he goes, "Please clap." Oh man, I'm gonna kill myself. Let's go ahead and have a look here. Yeah, this is one of the best embarrassing moments in politics ever. Let's see here.
Jeb Bush
had an even worse one.
He's having a really bad campaign. Look at this campaign moment. This was in Hanover on Tuesday. Look at this.
I think the next president needs to be a lot quieter, but send a signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
Oh, no.
You know, this campaign said everything except the candidate, right?
Oh, man, that's one of my favorite moments in political history. I absolutely love that. Please clap. I mean, I do have to say this. I will give Biden this. Despite the fact that he was a little bit dickish with the Coast Guard, that was actually a much better way of dealing with it. You know, if you've said something, you expect everybody to cheer and to clap and to be enthusiastic about what you said, and you realize what you said didn't land. I think teasing them a little bit about it is a little bit of is a much better strategy than to just pathetically say, "Please clap." But what Biden is doing was essentially the same thing. He was just doing it a little bit better, right? So Biden, I never really thought about this, but Biden is actually a better communicator, a better politician than Jeb Bush, which is weird because I guess we don't really take into account how bad Jeb Bush is at that sort of thing. You just expect him to be okay at it since his brother and his father were both president, but no, he's obviously terrible. But Joe Biden's pretty close to as bad as Jeb Bush was. I mean, he's pretty close to being as pathetic in that moment. He's berating these young men, and I assume there's a few women in there, for not clapping at something that he said. You don't do that. You just move on. Or you're self-deprecating, right? You say, "Oh, that was I intended for you guys to clap that. Clearly, I did not express myself effectively there. I thought I was better at this, but after 40-some years, I guess I still have something to learn about public speaking. Maybe make fun of yourself a little bit. Say, maybe the Republicans are right. I am getting old, If Biden said something like that, if Biden at any point said, maybe the Republicans are right, I am getting old, that's like a Reagan line, right? That's like something Reagan would have said. And everybody would have just started busting up laughing. Everybody would have loved it. But he doesn't. He says, come on, man. What's wrong with you guys? You guys are such a dull group. He calls them dull. And look, I'm not as offended by that as a lot of people in the media, but it's just pathetic. It's just pathetic. You can't land a line. You flub the line, first of all. You massacre the line. And then you blame the people that you were speaking to for not clapping for you. They were being charitable, not clapping for you. Because you messed up the line. It wasn't effective. You didn't even say the right words. And so these Coast Guard, I think by not laughing at you, I think they were being charitable. Yeah, sure, they didn't clap, but be grateful they didn't laugh at you. They finally laughed when you berated them, but I don't think they were laughing because what you said was really all that funny. I certainly didn't. I laughed because after failing miserably, you blamed someone else. You had the audacity to blame the people listening to you mess up for your horrible mistake. They didn't get it or something, right? They're dull. They're dull. That's the problem, Biden. You know what, Biden? That's the problem with all of your rallies. That's the problem with all your speeches. From the moment you started campaigning, the reason why you're not getting laughs, why you're not getting claps, why you're not getting people showing up and even listening to you, it's because we're all dull, Joe. That's why. Yeah, you just keep thinking that. Anyway, I love this story because, as I said, this is a beautiful metaphor for exactly what's happened with Biden's entire presidency, right? Stole the joke and then massacred it, and now everybody's uncomfortable. All right, that's it for that story. Gosh, that story just makes me happy, guys. All right, well, let's move on to the next one because this story does not make me happy. That story made me happy. This story is infuriating. But honestly, it's not unexpected. Let's just say that. All right, so what is this story? Lori Lightfoot bans white journalists. What has she banned white journalists from? She's banned white journalists from interviewing her. You're no longer allowed to interview Lori Lightfoot. She will not grant you an interview if you are white. This, ladies and gentlemen, is pure racism. If you want to know what racism is, this is it. There should be a picture in the dictionary where it says racism, a picture of Lori Lightfoot. Because this stupid woman is the quintessence of racism. She is racism condensed and perfected and put in politician form. She is an absolutely disgusting monster of a human being. And let's have a look at her. Let's have a look at this is what a racist looks like, ladies and gentlemen. There we go, and that's her. That's monstrous racism in human form. How would you like to wake up with that at the foot of your bed? You don't want to make fun of people for immutable characteristics like looks, but I think that this mangled head is what happens when you are pure evil, right? When you're a pure evil racist, this is what happens to you. You end up looking like something no one wants to meet up with in a dark alley. I mean, can you just imagine, like, you're walking into like a creepy place and you turn the corner and you see that staring at you? Good God. You're going to pee yourself. You're going to scream like a 12-year-old girl and run for your life. But look, it's not what she looks like that we care about, really. It's what's in her heart, right? And what's in her heart is pure hatred. And ordinarily I wouldn't harp on somebody for how they look, but in this case, she deserves it. She deserves every criticism she gets because she is a disgusting racist monster, and I do not like her. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and read this story. Why not? Because it's a nice thing to read through, and it'll give me some cues so that I can complain about this horrible person more. Now, remember, this woman broke quarantine so that she could make sure that haircut was perfected. That's how delusional this woman was. She felt that she needed to look good as the face of Chicago. Let me tell you something, Lori Lightfoot. That haircut is the least of your problems. All right, you're not gonna fix your problems being the face of Chicago with a haircut. Trust me. All right, let's see here. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to grant interviews only to black-brown journalists. What does that mean? That means she refuses to grant interviews to white journalists. This is an exclusion. This is not inclusion. This is exclusion. This is pure racism. Yeah, sure, I went low at the beginning. You should ignore that. I meant to talk about that at the end to be kind of funny. I don't know why I went there, because look. She's terrifying. All right, let's see here. Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.